Hi everyone, welcome to another video by Less Tax to Pay. Today we're going to be looking at customizing your sales invoice through QuickBooks Online. As you can see, we're on the dashboard at the moment. This is a very simple process, but it's just customizing QuickBooks to make it more you rather than a standard template. So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to go through all the options that you have when you're customizing a template, and just show you how you can tweak the invoice to make it sort of yours more than anything else. So as I said, we're on the dashboard at the moment. To start, you go to the cog on the right hand side and you go to custom form styles. Now before I start, you do have to have the admin rights to be able to do this. You'll always have a template in QuickBooks Online, and as you can see we have the template here. So to edit the invoice, you go to this option and click on edit. As you can see, this is the invoice layout as it is at the moment, and you can change certain aspects of this invoice. So first off, we're going to go through the design options. So design, you have the classic, you go the modern. So as you select these, it automatically changes the invoices as per its design, but it can also just give you an idea of how the invoice is going to look, what you want to do. So as you can see, so I'll leave it on the fresh one today. It's my personal choice is the classic. Just makes it very clean, and it's very clean invoice. But I'll leave it on the fresh today. You can add your logo or make a logo edit. So if you had a logo in there and then you changed it, you can obviously select your logo as you need to. So I'll select the Less Tax to Pay logo. And as you can see, you can make it small, medium, large. You can also place it on the left, in the middle, on the right. And that's very easy to do. Now you can change certain colours on the invoice. So what we have is we have an invoice, and as you can see when I click on the colours, you can see what's changing. So it's very simple. It's not sort of rocket science to really see what's going on as you click in the options. So I'll leave it at that colour today. As you can see, it's starting to stand out, it's starting to change from the standard. Now we have 4 different font types. So you have Arial, Courier, Helvetica, and the standard Times New Roman. Now I'm going to stay with Arial today. Quite like the font that it is. You also have the 3 different sizes. So if I click on 8, you can see the invoice gets quite small. This is generally quite good if you always have a lot of items on your invoice, because it will try and keep it on one page. The standard is 10, and when you print it out, that is very clear. But if you only have 1 or 2 lines on your invoice and you want to make it quite large, so it's very readable on a screen, you can have it at 12. So we can leave it at 12 today, that's not a problem. Now you have the print settings. So this is the margins. So if you really wanted to push the margins to edge-to-edge printing, you can take these margins out. But these are the standard margins that it sets for this template of invoice, or this design of invoice. And that's going to be a pretty good fit anyway, but it depends if you just want to stretch it out a bit and just make it sort of cover the whole page. If you have a letterhead, so if you don't have a logo, if you use a letterhead, so you print your invoices, you can select this option and you can see it gets rid of all your company information, your logo. It will use the letterhead as needed, and then you can obviously print that out. But because we send our invoices by email, we're going to leave all that information in. You can always rename the invoice. So if you want to say that this is the sales invoice, you can just type and rename the invoice there. Next we're going to go on to content. And as you can see on the invoice, they've split it into 3 sections. So we're just going to go through the first section. So by clicking on the section, it will bring up the options, and it's just very quickly, it'll ask you what you want to include. So as you can see, we've got business name, phone number, email address, company number. You can add the address in if you wanted to. You can add the website if you really wanted to. It'll automatically add in your VAT number. If you're VAT registered, then you put the VAT number in the VAT centre. It'll automatically add that to the invoice, because that's a standard item that needs to be on your invoice. Now you can also change the names of the invoice. So if I want to change this from a tax invoice to sales invoice, you can see I've changed it to sales invoice, and here it's changed it to sales invoice and the number. You can also get rid of the invoice numbers if you didn't want to show them, but generally people do, so I wouldn't be touching that option. Now the last options here, you can see that it's got the terms, that if you click it on and off, the terms go. So if you don't want people to know what your terms are and you're hoping for prompt payment, you can take that option out. You can also take out the due date of when the invoice is due to be paid. You can also take out the customer's VAT registration number. Now that's generally about if you're doing reverse charges, you need the customer VAT number. You might get the customer VAT number as a matter of course, and you want to display that on the invoice, so you can show you're doing a VAT invoice to a VAT registered company, just for your records more than anything else. So once you've finished this, you can click on done, and you can see that you've got the options there again. So we'll just go to the second option again, account summary. It can show you, so you can have a brought forward balance, the new charges, so like a credit card in essence. So you can have the account summary on there. You can have the date, so the date of the service that you did if you're doing multiple days. So if you're a contractor or a plumber and you're on a site for multiple days, you can have the dates on there. You can have the description, which is a standard set, product and service. So if you didn't want to have the products or service in there, you can have also the description and the category, the quantity you can take in and out, the rate you can take in and out, the amount you can take in and out, and the VAT amount you can take in and out. You can also have, if you have any SKUI codes, you can have those in there as well. You can also group and mark up billable expenses. You can include employees' names, the hour rates, the tax inclusive amounts, tax type indicators. You can collapse the activity rows if you're doing a very detailed invoice. The last option at the bottom on this content is where you can display first off the discount. So you can see here, if you're offering discount, it will show here. Deposit, if people pay you deposit, you can show it here as well. You've also got the VAT summary, which is obviously very good for people just to see what the split is between your VAT, your 5%, your zeros, and it just helps with processing the paperwork so people don't make assumptions that everything is VATable. You've got estimate summary, so if you provide estimates as well, it will provide an estimate summary. You've got a message that you can send to the customers. So please, this one says please send payment to HSBC account and the account and sort code. That appears here, as you can see. You can also add payment details, and what to do is as you type the payment details, please pay, you can see at the bottom of the invoice it's starting to put that text in. Please pay to Lloyd's, account name, let's tax to pay. You can see it's starting to build up. Account number, sort code. So you can see here it's built up, and you can keep typing and typing and typing. Again, you have the three options of the size. So if you want to make it quite big at the bottom, you leave it at 0.12. You can either put it to the left, centered or right. I generally leave it to the centered when I'm telling my customers to do their invoices, because then it's in the middle. People can't say that it's missed off to the left. So you have a couple of options to put your invoice in, your payment details via bank transfer on there. So you can see now you've started to sort of take some options out. You've added some text in, so now the invoice is starting to become your own rather than a standard template. So the last option we have, the last two options, is the email. So this is what the customer sees when you send the invoice via email. Now it will put in a standard text format for you. So here it goes for the sales invoice. Here's your invoice, we appreciate your prompt payment, thanks for your business, and the company name. It will use the greeting of dear and the full name of the customer. So if you put in John Smith and the company name is ABC Destruction, it will say, "Dear John Smith, here's your invoice. We appreciate your prompt payment." You can also change the subject, but generally I'd leave the subject, because if you start trying to be creative with the subject, you could get into spam filters and everything else. Whereas this, QuickBooks have done a lot of investigation into the sort of the subject field, and this should get past most spam filters. It might still go into them, don't get me wrong, but if someone says they haven't received it, just ask them to check that. You also have a reminder email, so if your invoice becomes overdue, this is what an email can be sent to them, just giving them a quick reminder that you haven't received payment and can they pay it. Again, it uses the same "Dear John Smith," and it just puts there, as you can see, just a reminder, we've not received a payment for this invoice yet, please let us know if you have any questions. So it just gives you a couple of things. You can put a bit more in here, you can type as you wish. We accept payments by bank transfer, debit card, credit card, or even DD. So you see here, you can actually just put in whatever you wish, into this email message, but they just put a standard text in. So you can actually customize this as well if you want to put a lot of information on the body of the email with reference to how they can pay, what your terms are, if there's anything discount wise you could put on there, if you're running a promotion or anything like that. You can really customize this to how you want it to be. Now the last option we have is the payments. Now QuickBooks Online only accepts two forms of payments at the moment. First one is PayPal, so it will accept cards via PayPal. As you know, accepting cards by PayPal is quite expensive, but if you factor this into your costings, then by all means set up an account with PayPal, integrate it, and then you can obviously accept online payments via card. Might help you get more money in, might help it get the money in quicker, but just be aware of that. From my understanding with QuickBooks Online, they are bringing some more payment processors. They might actually be bringing their own out as well, but that's just a little inkling that I've got from speaking to them, because I asked about whether there are others apart from PayPal, because it is quite expensive. So the likes of WorldPay, SagePay, and all the other ones that are out there. The other option you have is accepting payments by direct debit. Now this is only really going to be applicable if you have recurring invoices. So if you have people that are on subscriptions, so like accountancy fees, gym memberships, that have regular invoices, so you set up the regular invoice automatically create every month. You can set up that they pay by direct debit. So what you do is, by selecting this option, it will, once you've signed up with GoCardless and integrated it with GoCardless, it will then give the option for the client on the first one to sign up to GoCardless through you, and then they'll take the payment, and then they'll take the payment every time an invoice is created. So that's a very, very good thing to automate your payments if you are on a regular, recurring, monthly, weekly, fortnightly invoice for someone. So it just helps automate that process with reference to not having to manually keep putting this in. You can just automate this process. So that is all the options on the sales invoice that you have. To finish, you click done. If you wanted to preview it at any time, you can click the preview PDF, and it will just give you the layout of your invoice as it is. But that's all the options. So you can see that you can customize it quite a bit. I'm just going to exit without saving, and go back to the dashboard. One thing you will notice, we put the logo in on the invoice. It's actually put the logo at the top here. So anything you do there with reference to logo wise, it will bring it through. So you're not having to put multiple logos on. Once you put it in once, the system knows that it needs to put it into all the relevant places that it needs to put into. If you went to your settings, so accounts and settings, you'll see it's put it here as well. So the system is quite clever in that aspect. So you're not having to do multiple jobs at the same thing on multiple occasions. But that's it. Have fun with creating your invoices. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Always enjoy the videos. If you have any further hints and tips videos you want from Less Tax to Pay, leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy. Bye for now.